Hello and welcome. We are back now with Tomodachi game, and we're on episode 6. You know, we're halfway through this show. And like all things that is halfway through the episodes, there's always a catch. There's always a twist. There's always a moment when we said, what the hell did I watch? And other moments where it's like, OMG moments, OMFG moments where it's just like, what the did I just watch? What did I see? What did I see? There are moments like that. And everything came up to fruition. Tomodachi game is still a top 10 spring anime show. I understand that it's not on the level of all the other great shows that came out this year in the spring. Black Spy X Family. We all know that's number 1. I mean, some people put that at number 2. If you count Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 3, especially with that rap. Oh my god, that rap. But other than that, Tomodachi game has left on the radar with a lot of dialogue. I get that. Sure, it has a lot of dialogue, but sometimes having a lot of dialogue explains the reason what or why the MC has in store. So last week, Yuichi planned this from the beginning. This MC is a total badass. And then with cliffhangers like this, you ask yourself, how did he do this? Well, that's how you're about to find out. So right now, let's get right to this review of the Tomodachi game episode 6. All right, so after revealing Tenji, everybody hate this guy. After revealing that Tenji was wrapped around people's fingers, this is actually Yuichi's plan from the beginning. He's planned this entire sting, this whole game, since the beginning of the game. Since the second game, again, this is Mouth Shigoku. You know, revealing their secrets, and more every step so you get more yen. That was the whole plan. And now everybody thought Tenji was the guy manipulating things, and he was. And I never trusted Tenji to begin with. Never trust a four-eyed bastard in the game. Because anytime characters do this, so every time you know there's a trick. So why are we even complaining? Why are we thinking like, oh, he's not. No. That's not how it happened. It was actually Yuichi who planned it from the start. Like, you know what I mean? Tenji's a traitor, but Yuichi's actually the traitor. But to explain why Yuichi, explain why the MC is not a traitor, but explain why he planned this, there's 3 traps and they reveal it. So the first one, to break it down, it was hard to watch it the first time, but you had to watch it the second time to get the dialogue going. So the first one was using the cards. He read the rules from the beginning, and it says use as many cards as you want. So in order to get the Shiko, the vice president, in order to get the vice president in this mix, he's like, okay, I'm going to leave this one blank. I'm going to leave you with instructions. So in his mind, he got to get her to trust her. He has to get Shiko to trust Yuichi. Like, get him to trust the MC. That was the whole thing. And that the whole slap thing remember the whole slap? That didn't happen. Apparently, if you look closely, it was actually a card, another info. So throughout the game, Yuichi had 2 cards. 2 blank cards. And if you look close at the camera, it was actually revealed that he has 2 cards. To pretend that it wasn't like, okay, I rolled 1 card instead of 2. So basically, he was holding his pen as a mistake. As a sign, to confirm Shiko trusted him. That's 1. 2, the process of elimination. That was the thing. Process of elimination. So we all know the vice president and Yuichi are friends because they had a flashback of them becoming friends. Okay, that was that. So now we're down. So if you look closely, okay, process of elimination. This is where the second step comes in. It's not the vice president. So you had it between Makoto and you had Yutari. Excuse my name on this. Oh, Yutari. So you had Yutari, Makoto, and Tenji. So he had to get in their trust. He's like, okay. So in those moments, remember that moment when he grabbed her hand and tell the secret behind her, tell the secret by the ear? That was the moment where he's like, I know who the traitor is. You're going to have to trust me. I got this. So in order to get Yotari to trust Yuichi, they planned this act. They planned this act that fooled everyone who watched this from the beginning. The whole, like, I trust him. I'm staying with him. And Shiho always, like, pretend like it didn't happen, but it was all an act. From the moment she was heartbroken, the moment Yutari was being close to Yuichi, and the moment where Shiho was there, like all crying, all betrayals, that was all an act. So basically the entire game, leading towards the fourth game, was all a freaking act towards the end. That was the thing. Now, it can't be that two. So it was down to two. Tenji or Makoto. It was down to two. Now, when Makoto, the class president, the airhead, call him a doofus, being a doofus in this kind of game, he kind of proved it that he's kind of good at it, even being a doofus. So, what he did is, that moment when there was a special chance, and he took the blame. He's like, I'll do it. I'll step in. That was kind of a brave move. So you think to yourself, okay, so he's the traitor, because why would a person like him actually step up on a special chance and just say, I'll take the fall. I don't give a shit. That was the plan. He just did it out of his own free will. He just did it. So it's like, so it's not him. So who will be the guy to do it? Who is the traitor? Tenji. Now, the MC himself said, the Tenji I know wouldn't be like this. The Tenji I know wouldn't be like this. I mean, if you go back to like the second or third question, where it's like, oh, she has a crush. Tenji and Shiho had a crush on each other back then. And that moment when he punched him, that was like, that's not how Tenji is. So he knew, like, okay, Tenji's a traitor, but how do I prove it? So everything happened from the beginning of the game. Now, the third step, this was the third step. This is how it all starts. Trust. So the first game was to convince the vice president, Shiho, to be part of the game, to trust the MC. The second game was process of elimination, narrowing down the playing field to a point where you could trust. And as proof, if you want to prove your loyalty to the MC, and if you want to prove who the traitor is, simple. Friendship. The proof of being friends. You stick together, and the only way to do that is to give them their name tags. Now, if you look closely, the MC, and I'm sure people didn't realize this, so I'm pretty sure some people did. I mean, I read the manga, so I'm not even going to go detail. I'm just going by what we're looking at. So if you look closely at that, all three of them had no name tags. The rules never said you give them a name tag, you're in debt. No. If you look at your own name tag, you in debt. So technically, he gave them all three of their tags. He chained them. He's like, if I'll trust you. Like, he manipulated them. He's like, okay, give me your 3 tags. And I trust you guys. I really trust you. I trust you. Just give me the tag, and I got you. So that's what he did. I mean, this is kind of a flash drive as an example. Like, here's the tag. He's like, okay, give it to me. And he gave, all three of them gave him the tags. All three of them gave them a tags. And in that moment in time, there you go. The answer's right there. Tenji was a traitor. And the way how the MC played in this third trap was like, it's like a chain reaction. Have Shiho told Makoto, and have Makoto told Yuichi. So it's kind of like a chain reaction to a point where he's like, okay, all three of them got to trust this guy. And as a result, even all three of them left it blank. When the moment Tenji went inside the room, he said, as soon as Tenji went inside the room, Yuichi told everybody what to do. And there was no order. There was no order who goes first to write the names. There was no order. It wasn't like, It was like every game. It wasn't like for every round, I go first, you go second, you go third. The next round, I go first, you go second, and I go third. No, that's not how that works. Doesn't matter what order. So then that moment he told Tenji, like, hey, you go first this time. That was the order that's changed to a point where he's like, okay, I gotta do this. And now Yuichi did it. He did. Now, just when you thought that this was over, just when you thought the Tomodachi, just when you thought the second game was almost done, even though it wasn't, and even though we found a traitor, there was one little secret. Two secrets. Two. Our MC, our beloved MC, the guy that we all know, he's been smart since the day one, since the day he was born. And he slapped that baby. It was a lie. And one of the questions, and even the announcer's like, oh, game over, okay, that's it, we're done, second game's over, that's it. Because he told a lie. And the one thing he said in one of the cards, he said that Makoto actually killed someone. But in reality, the real truth was that our beloved MC, Yuichi, he actually murdered He murdered people. 3 people. Now, there was no proof that he actually said it. I mean, like, just because you said it, I mean, where's your proof at? The admins, the 2 admins, they looked at this resume and they said, this guy ain't no ordinary person. And they found his resume, he killed 3 people. 3 people. And looking at resume, it was true. So he had to be the last one going down for the next game. Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure this is the next game I was really hoping for. Because I'm not going to go to that 3rd game until they get to it. But, oh my God. Now, after Evil, he murdered people. This is where it gets interesting. This is where I find that book ridiculous. You murder someone, he murdered 3 people, and now everyone is not even like, back the fuck up. I don't want to be friends with a murderer. I don't even want to be near a murderer. I don't want to jump the gun on someone in the My Hero Academia, but isn't someone in My Hero Academia a murderer? Who do I know is a murderer? In class 1A, who is a freaking murderer? Oh, I know. Bakugo. Yeah. Bakugo's a murderer. I mean, that's what his title is. Explosion, murderer, god, whatever you call it, but he is a murderer. But I'm just saying. But my point is, he's a freaking murderer. Sorry, I'm jumping out of gun. I still don't like Bakugo. He's just a murderer. He admits to himself he's a murderer. I mean, who want to be friends with a murderer like Bakugo? But other than that, Yuichi being a murderer himself, like, he's a killer. Who want to be friends with a killer? I'm sure y'all won't. And that's where the whole tables have turned. Now, just when you thought that he did this just to get to the next round and have them stay, hell no. This is where it's changed. And one of the most unrealistic moments of the year. You can chop this down as one of the most shocking anime moments we've ever seen in the history of anime. One of the most shocking moments, and then you gotta put this up there. You might have to put this year. The confession. Tenji, the whole lie part when he said, oh, I love Makoto, but I love Shiho, but that was a lie. No. I actually love Yuichi. And it was like, huh? That's a, now they didn't believe it. But this Tenji got balls to even come up to him, took off his desk and kissed him. And I'm like, everybody was like, some people, like y'all, was shocked to the system. You're talking about shock the system? This was hella shocked. The moment Tenji kissed him, it was like, that face. That's the face of shock where you're like, huh? And you have to go back and rewatch that part. You're like, huh? Rewind it again. Look back. Huh? Wow. And they both fell down to the next round. Now, Here, you're talking about a plot twist. You're talking about a plot twist in motion. This is where the plot twist comes. Tenji, the guy that everybody hates from the beginning of the second game, that everybody who watched this has already know. This guy is his second. This is his second Tomodachi game. His second. Meaning, you're going to see his friends. That's one thing I'm going to spoil you about that. You're going to see his friends as part of the Tomodachi game and why he did it. So I think what I'm trying to, I think the next half of this episode, I think the next episode is going to be, well, if they go by the manga. But to me, I think what they're going to do is like for next week, just to put the entire episode of him playing the Tomodachi game. And then leading towards the next game with the characters that they're going to reveal. Which I'm pretty sure they're going to do that. Because that's the next game. But the kiss. Let me go back to the kiss. I think that kiss was not intentionally like, oh, he did it like because he loved him. No. I think it goes one or two ways for most people. Like on the one hand, people look at this kiss like, oh, he did it intentionally just to go with Yuichi and help him with the next game. Or he actually loves him. So it's like a 2-degree, like you can't, like which side? Is he doing this for, is he doing it for Yuichi or he's doing it for himself? Either way, that was a shocking moment for most people. And I'm pretty sure most people are shocked as well just seeing that. I mean, I'm not against, again, I have nothing against the Yaoi Yuri community. I have nothing against that. But for that moment to come out of nowhere, out of the blue, that's like, what the fuck did I just watch? So yeah, that's my point. So anyway, this episode was really good. It had a lot of dialogue, but it was all about how Yuichi planned everything from the beginning. Like, you talk about a guy who, he's not even human. But the guy who been doing this kind of game for like has this kind of guts to do it. And then Tenji, being that and for Tenji, seeing that this is his second Tomodachi game, y'all gonna see how he got it, because in the manga it got even depth. So you're gonna see why he did it in the first place. Now I understand people gonna take a second chance, but we'll see if y'all forgive him or not. I mean, I'll let y'all decide. But anyway, this was a good episode. And I think episode 6, to me, out of all the games right now, this was actually the best one. The best. So, I look forward for next week's episode of Tomodachi game where they reveal the actual story of Tenji and his first Tomodachi game leading towards this. So, I look forward for next week's episode of it, and I'm sure you will.